All right, let's talk about the three big things that are potentially holding you back in your business. So, if you're feeling a bit like this, like you're dragging this rock up a mountain, there's these three key things that are holding you back, that are preventing you from taking your business to where you want to go, to getting to that big, hairy, audacious goal, and you wonder why you're stuck and you're sitting in this plateau. And typically, what happens is that you come up with this idea, you set up your business, and off you go. And this might take place over a period of a couple of years, might take place over a period of 5 years, 10 years. It just depends on your business, really. So you have an idea, you launch your business, it goes, hey, this thing is working. And you get to the point where you're either thinking, hey, let's get rich, let's scale this thing, let's grow the business. Or you suddenly wake up one day and you realize that you've hit this plateau, that you just aren't growing the way you expected to grow. And part of that is that these three barriers are kind of have come up almost without you knowing them or understanding them. And it's really, really important that you know what these barriers are. So I'm going to take you through them quickly. Here we go. The first one is leadership, and I'll talk about each of these independently. The second one is market dynamics, and the third one is systems and processes. So let's tackle leadership first. As you're growing your business, that plateau that you get to is very often because your leadership team hasn't grown at the same pace as your business. So, we talk about what got you there might not get you to where you need to go next. It really comes down to making sure that your leadership team is being upgraded at the same pace as the business, is that your leadership team is growing at the same pace as your business. So your biggest barrier is going to be around leadership. And for some businesses, this simply starts with you, the owner, the founder of the business, that you haven't formed a leadership team. You may be at 1 million, you may be at 5 million, you may be at 10 million, but you haven't formed a really high-performing, cohesive A-player leadership team. You haven't built this leadership team around you, and you've become the bottleneck in the business. So you need to think about how you're going to start to put that leadership team in place. That's one of the biggest barriers you need to tear down. The very first one is putting a leadership team in place and making that leadership team is growing up at the same pace as the business. The next big thing is market dynamics. So I talked a little bit about this if you read my news or if you take a look at some of the content that I've written in the past. But essentially, if your leadership team isn't taking input from what's going on in the market, so if your leadership team's not listening to what's going on around you and inside the market, and there's a short note at the bottom of this on what's going on the topic, but you've got to keep taking input from the market, bringing it into the business and adapting your business. And if you're not doing that, you're going to stall out. So some businesses are very operationally focused, other businesses are very market focused. A lot of the businesses that are operationally focused find it difficult to grow because you're looking inward, you're not looking outward. So one of the other reasons that you might need to change, or one of the things that you might need to do to tear down this barrier, is start looking outward, start taking insights and data from what's going on in you, or going on around you in your market, and bring that into the business. And then the third and final thing is systems and processes. So some companies, as I said, are like operationally focused and have really good systems and processes. They're focused on what's going on inside the business, and they can't understand why they're not growing at the pace they want to grow. It seems to be very difficult, but these businesses are very, very well run. So you might find that you've been running very well for 10 years, but you're just not finding the growth that you wanted. You've done a fantastic job of getting your systems and processes right. And as a founder, you may have come from an environment where you are very systems and process oriented. You may come from a technical background. you may come from an accounting or finance background, and there's no. I'm not trying to say that those sort of backgrounds are holding you up per se, but you're more focused on the operational side of the business, whereas somebody maybe comes from a marketing background, maybe more focused on market dynamics. And this all goes back to building your leadership team. These other two things, the systems and processes and the market dynamics, are kind of almost two categories of business, whereas leadership is what's going to bring this all together. So you have to overcome this leadership barrier, and you have to make sure you've got good systems and processes in place, and you have to make sure you take an input from the market. And this means, as the business owner, as a leadership team, when a customer comes in and gives you feedback, take it, run with it. When your staff are giving you feedback, take it, look at it, investigate it. Don't kind of bury your head in the sand. I've seen so many great examples of this over the years where a company will, for instance, with a cloud, will say, we're never going to move from on-premise servers to cloud. Bury their head in the sand. And what happens? The industry and the market evolves. Your systems and your processes might be fantastic, but the market's moving on. So I urge you to listen to what's going on, to keep taking insights from the market and to use those. Hope this has helped. Look forward to creating the next video in the series for you.